We are lucky and honored to have the Scullin Honor Chorus sing the national anthem. Members: Jacob Kalaki, Paul Eldridge, Nick Ruff, Madeline Noga, Alyssa Wolf, Katie Stucco, and Devonna Brockman.
So proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Play ball!
Division. Game's supposed to start at noon, and I'm alongside Rob Maker. Rob, you are a NLL board member, a manager in the majors with Ambrose Plumbing, team just eliminated recently, and a Naperville Sun columnist, so very ingrained in the community, very ingrained in Naperville Little League Baseball. What can you tell us about our teams here today, Siebert Trucking and the Platinum Partners Realtors?
Thanks, Charlie. These two teams here represent some of the best tradition Naperville Little League has to offer. On one side of the field with the Platinum Partners Cubs, you have a team led in part by Coach Dan Keneally, who has coached or managed in Naperville Little League since 1999. On the other side of the field, you have Siebert Trucking, who is probably one of the longest-standing sponsorships in Naperville Little League Baseball, dating back to the 1950s. So not only do you have the best that the Supreme Division has to offer from this season, but you also have two very tradition-oriented teams in this title game.
Yeah, lots of tradition, as always, in Little League Baseball. Two very competitive teams set to go in the championship game. First pitch fouled off, straight into the stands, and we had a few reaching out for a souvenir already.
Nick Streeter leading off for the Cubs, two-year player on this team, and one of the unquestioned leaders on the Platinum Partners team.
0-1 count. This one onside evens it up. So on the mound today for Siebert Trucking, number 12, Jake Hoppel. Have you seen Hoppel play this year?
I have not seen the Siebert Supreme team yet this season. No, but I have seen the Cubs play on occasion, and I do know that at 22-0, the Siebert Trucking team poses quite a challenge.
They are undefeated.
Cubs 22-0. I'm sorry, Siebert Trucking 22-0 coming in. Platinum Partners Realtors Cubs 19-2-1 entering this game.
Yeah, the first and second place teams in the standings in the Supreme Division taking each other on here today. You mentioned last year, both teams, as the count even at 2-2, both teams were playoff teams, did not win the championship. This year, championship game, will have a new champion to be crowned by the end. Ground ball up the middle, bobbled briefly by the shortstop, and Streeter is on safely.
That's going to be Platinum Partners' game today, trying to get runners on, especially at the top of the order, and try and establish an early lead if they can. Nick Streeter really makes things go for the Cubs at the top of the lineup.
Well, leadoff runner aboard. And so with nobody out, that'll bring up Sean O'Reilly. Takes the first ball inside for a ball. Sean O'Reilly this season 2 hole today, 16 games played this year, 563 average.
He's another 2-year player for Platinum Partner Cubs. Sean is a 10-year-old. He likes the Chicago White Sox. His favorite athlete is Jonathan Taves from the Blackhawks.
And Jonathan Taves may have just won a championship for the local hockey team around here.
He did. Sean obviously likes championship players and now playing in a championship ball game himself.
He's got a 3-0 count right now. Fakes the bunt. Pulls up on it, but it is called a strike. And so now 3-1. So again, the Platinum Partners Realtors Cubs. You might notice they're wearing a White Sox logo on their uniforms. Kind of funny for a team named the Cubs to have a White Sox logo on as the walk is yielded. And O'Reilly's on first, moving Streeter up to second, and now very early, the Cubs threatening. Runners on first and second with Andy Nash coming up. And the runners advance on a wild pitch.
You mentioned the Chicago White Sox uniforms. The Chicago White Sox this year donated uniforms for all levels of Naperville Little League teams at a significant cost savings to Naperville Little League, allowing us to reinvest into other aspects of the program.
Bunt laid down, and he just eats it up and loads the bases. So Jake Hoppel thought about going to first, but he really didn't want that run at third and Nick Streeter to score. So ultimately, the right play. What do you think?
I think this is exactly what the Platinum Partners Cubs want to have here early on, trying to get runners on and in. Probably the right play to go ahead and hold the ball in that situation.
So now Nico Gordon, the batter with the highest batting average on this Platinum Partner Realtors team, gets hit by a pitch, and that walks in the first run. The Cubs lead 1-0. So that brings up Luke Rue. Still nobody out. And checking out the arm of Nico Gordon there. Very important player to this team. Be tough if he has to play a little bit injured the rest of the game, but definitely takes one for the team there.
With Luke Rue coming up now, this is the 5th player at the top of their order, another 2-year player for the Platinum Partners Cubs and another leader on this team.
Is his favorite player Jonathan Taves too?
He says his favorite athlete is Paul Konerko, a little bit removed from his playing days with the Chicago White Sox. His favorite baseball team, Luke's favorite baseball team, is the White Sox. His favorite non-baseball team is the Chicago Bears.
You know, Paul Konerko is a leader too.
He is. He is and was. Indeed.
Seems to be a theme here. They like all the alpha males from all of Chicago's big-time teams. 2-0 pitch. And Hoppel lays one in there for the first strike of the at-bat. 2-1.
You know, what I've really noticed here from Hoppel is he doesn't seem to be getting rattled. Even though this is a championship situation, bases loaded, he definitely seems to be keeping his cool out there on the mound.
And fouled off. That evens up the count at 2-2 to Luke Rue.
Luke's a 10-year-old student from Ranch View Elementary. His favorite thing to do in Naperville is to play baseball. When he grows up, he'd like to be a pro baseball player.
Fouls another one off. So good at bat here for Luke Rue, who in 22 games this season, hitting .518. One of a handful of players on this Cubs roster hitting over 500 this season. That ball high, and now full count. So the bases loaded here. Tough spot for Hoppel. He's got to really focus on this pitch. Infield in. And he got him. So a big strikeout for Hoppel, and that gets him to at least one out now. The bases loaded. And that was a pressure pitch early on in this game. in a championship situation.
It was. That's what you really needed there in that situation. Now here with one out, Siebert Trucking has the opportunity to get out of this inning with a double play, or at least to get one at the plate.
First pitch to Matt Reedy is a strike. And now Hoppel seems to be getting into a rhythm here. You get that first out and suddenly you have a bit more confidence. And infield still in as the pitch is fouled off by Matt Reedy. So now quickly 0-2. And for the second straight batter now, Jake Hoppel seems to have found his confidence, taking off from the previous strikeout and moving into this batter.
And with the infield in here, Siebert Trucking definitely seems to be playing it to not get in a hole early. It looks like anything on the infield, they may be coming home for that second out. Kids watching at home, the catcher in this situation basically becomes a first baseman when the infield comes home with the ball, try and get that force out of the plate.
Base is still loaded. 0-2 pitch, another foul ball. So what we're seeing so far from this Cubs team, a lot of batters that can really give the pitcher a good battle.
And that will be key in a game like this. The pitchers are available for a maximum of 85 pitches. If you can work the count to burn through those pitches earlier, you may get into their second and third pitchers on each team a little bit sooner in the ballgame.
Little change up there from Hoppel. A bit low, but a good eye. It's laid off, and it's 1-2 to Matt Reedy. Reedy with the bases loaded, infield still in. And just off the corner, called a ball.
Reedy, yet another two-year player for Platinum Partners. His favorite baseball team is the Yankees. His favorite non-baseball team is the Blackhawks. And his favorite athlete is Patrick Kane.
Patrick Kane is good at hockey. I like him. That one fouled off. So now Hoppel dealing with yet another battle. This one from Matt Reedy. And already very early in this game, we got a key spot. Jumps out of the way of that pitch, and we have another ball. So the first run of the game was scored when Nico Gordon was hit by a pitch, and the bases remain loaded. And now a second run will score. This one off a walk, and it's 2-0. So a good battle from the batters. They're also taking all the pitches they should be taking. Very disciplined game so far from these Cubs, and with only one out still, the bases loaded, and a 2-0 game. And attempting to lay down that bunt was Brandon Chitwood, but it passed him up for strike one. Chitwood steps back in. This one down to the dirt. And now that evens up the count at 1-1.
Chitwood is a 9-year-old on the Platinum Partners Cubs. Likes the St. Louis Cardinals. His favorite athlete's Yadier Molina.
Ball high, and you look at the third baseman, Luke Bremner there, playing awfully deep in near that third base line. So they're hoping for the play at home is what you'd have to assume here. This one chopped up toward shortstop, and another run will score, and it's 3-0. That brought in Andy Nash, and the RBI from Brandon Chitwood adds another run to this lead early on in inning number 1 for the Cubs.
That was a little looper right over the shortstop, closer to where the normal shortstop position would have been had the infield been back. So by having the infield in, allowed that ball to drop and got the third run in for the Platinum Partners Cubs. Siebert still with the infield in, and the base is still loaded.
Still hoping for that double play. With one out. Good contact made, ranging over forward and left field. Not going to get there. That'll score a run, and maybe another one. Yes, coming in to score 2 is Matt Reedy, and it's 5-0. Advancing to third was Brandon Chitwood. And PPR storming off in this game, putting up 5 in inning number 1. And you look at the previous meetings between these two teams, Siebert won them both. One of them 11-1, the other 11-6 this season. You come in today and you see the way this team has started. They're looking for revenge, and with a 5-0 start to begin, I think they're on the right track.
They may be, but Joe Weidenbach is a seasoned manager in Naperville Little League, 11 years managing Siebert trucking teams in Supreme and Majors. As he takes his visit out to the mound here and instructs his pitcher and fielders, he's definitely keeping his cool here. It doesn't look as though his team is out of this ballgame, even though it is a 5-run lead here for Platinum Partners in the first. So it's still early.
Yeah, and Siebert trucking a team at 22-0. You know, to go undefeated, you're going to have to find ways to win close games, to make comebacks, and they've done that all season long. It wouldn't be out of the question to see him do it again. Still, the inning continues with runners at the corners. Again, Brandon Chitwood sitting at third, and with 1 out, Jake Koppel is going to have to bear down here and try to get out of this inning as second base is stolen, by the way, so now second and third.
Opportunistic base running there by Cherney.
Indifferent was the Siebert defense to him taking second. The 1-0 from Hoppel. A strike to Max Streeter. And I'm going to assume Max Streeter is related to the leadoff hitter, Nick Streeter, because they both have the same last name.
They are. They're brothers. Max comes in the 9-year-old part of the age group. Nick, a 10-year-old. Supreme is a age division for 9s and 10s, so you have two brothers here at 2 different ages playing in the same league.
That would be so fun, as he's hitting .256 this season, trying to add to his team's lead.
By this point, it's worth noting Max is actually 10 and Nick is actually 11 due to age cutoffs. But for age qualifications, they're playing a year younger.
Well, after getting Max Streeter looking on the strikeout, Jake Koppel will now face Luke Noren. Runners at second and third, and Noren with a big hack. On for naught, strike one. Well, we've got 3 games on tap for you today, all from different divisions, and Rob, you'll be on every single one of those games, so you'll be talking an awful lot today. I hope you warmed up the vocal cords.
Well, as my wife will tell you, we can't get enough baseball in our house. I'd probably be out here all day anyway, so might as well be having fun with you and your colleagues here at the table.
And with your team out of the tournament, I'm sure it's nice to still be around the game. You got a full day of baseball slated for you.
Well, you know, this is what you begin working for in the off season, and it's a little cliche, but when you're in the cages and you're working inside in February and March when you're waiting for the snow to thaw, this is where you hope to get to.
1-2, and he gets him again, and that ends a long inning. Hoppel 2 strikeouts, but allows 5 runs, and PPR off to a 5-0 start after a half inning of play. Siebert has a lot of work to do. We'll find out what they can do coming up.
Martin Avenue Pharmacy.
Pet Court is now in session.
Oh, my owners chase me and hold me down to feed me those awful pills.
I rule in favor of Mittens the cat. Martin Avenue Pharmacy makes medication in pet-friendly flavors and easy-to-apply pet gels, so the hand that feeds is the hand that heals. Call 630-355-6400.
5 runs scored in the top of the first. And now on the mound for this team to try and hold that lead. He's got a lot of run support to work with already. Nick Streeter on the mound. And very quickly, 2 strikes to the leadoff batter, Ryan Petusik.
Petusik is 11 years old. His favorite baseball team is the Chicago White Sox. His favorite non-baseball team is the Bears. And his favorite athlete is Luke Gregerson. Perhaps Ryan Petusik is related to Luke Gregerson.
It's possible.
It's possible.
Because I don't think either of us know who that is. 2-2 pitch. This one inside, and laying off is Petusik. So he started this one 0-2. He takes 3 straight pitches. And now the payoff from Nick Streeter on the full count. Inside, 4 straight balls, and that walks him. Petusik is on, and Siebert as the leadoff batter aboard, much like the Platinum Partners Realtors did in the top half of the inning.
To clarify, Luke Gregerson is a pitcher for the Houston Astros.
Okay. Into shallow right field. Easy catch. And a nice play they made there by Brandon Chitwood, who had the single in that rally by the Platinum Partners Realtors in the top half of the first. So 1 out. And up comes Jake Heppel. Heppel takes the first pitch for a ball.
Jake Heppel is the 3rd boy in his family to have played for a Siebert Trucking team. Coach Joe Weidenbach was telling me before the game. Part of that outstanding tradition Siebert Trucking has.
Right now, 1-0 count. Nick Streeter, the leadoff hitter, also the pitcher for this Cubs team. Now he's off the mark again, 2-0. Make it 3-0. And now Heppel, good spot here, takes the strike. Third baseman Joey Cherney in as Heppel takes the walk, and now it's first and second with 1 out. And up comes John Wiedenbach. Joey Cherney, much like that Siebert defense in the top half of the first, playing very deep in from third base.
You know, we mentioned a moment ago that Heppel was the 3rd boy in his family to have played for a Siebert Trucking team. John Weidenbach, son of manager Joe Weidenbach, he's the 4th boy in his family to have played for a Siebert Trucking team. So up and down the lineup throughout the history of Siebert Trucking, a lot of tradition with this ball club.
Little League Baseball is full of plenty of tradition. Always starts with a game of catch in the backyard with Dad. Maybe Mom joins in sometimes. It's a game everyone picks up at a young age. Some will get to the MLB, very select few. Some will play college. Few will get to high school. But this is the level where you'll find them all. Equal playing field. Everyone participates, and that's really the beauty of it.
It is. You have a continuous batting order. Everybody bats 1 through 12 if you have all 12 boys there, all 12 players. Everybody plays at least every other inning. You don't sit more than 1 inning in a row. So it really is still an age of opportunity, of getting to play the game, play it with your friends, but in a competitive environment.
Big smack into center field. At that right field, there's Brandon Chitwood, can't get to it. And Ryan Petusik rounds third to score. So Siebert quickly cuts into the 5-0 lead that PPR came into this bottom of the first with, and it's 5-1. Jake Heppel advances to third, and the double makes it 5-1.
Well, what you're seeing here is exactly what we thought we'd see. Siebert Trucking, even though they got down 5-0 in the first, they knew it was early. They knew they weren't out of this ball game, and here they come fighting back right away in the bottom of the first.
Sam Driscoll, a dribbler at the first baseman. That'll score a run, and it's 5-2. So Luke Rue, the best he could, at least got the force out at first. 2 outs, but Siebert with 2 runs. Now just a 3-run lead And no surprise, we were talking about it. We alluded to it when the run was up to 5-0. And Siebert, a team that can always put something together no matter the situation. And they've already proved that here in the bottom of the first. There's another base hit up the middle. Ronnie Mayer with the RBI single, and it's 5-3.
That was another hard hit ball. 3 in a row there on all 3 hits. So Siebert Trucking's coming to the plate, swinging the bats.
So Mayer's RBI single gives Siebert its 3rd run. And now Adam Zielke up to try and continue this. But he will not come up with anybody in scoring position. There are 2 outs now. It's Nick Streeter just trying to get out of this inning at this point.
You know, it's funny. Here we are in the championship game, the end of the season. 2 of the best pitchers on the mound that both teams have to offer, and it's 5-3 in the first. Just goes to show you never really know what you're going to get, even in a championship environment.
What we have so far is a high-scoring game as the shot right back to the pitcher, Nick Streeter, who goes on to first to retire the side, but not before giving up 3 runs. And so Siebert cuts into the 5-0 lead. We got a game again, and after an inning, already 8 runs have been scored. The Cubs lead 5-3, and we'll be back for the 2nd inning after this. So a fast and furious start to this game. 8 runs have been scored already. 5 by the Cubs, 3 by Siebert Trucking, a 22-0 team who are up to the challenge posed by the Platinum Partners Realtors so far. Jake Heppel still on the mound for Siebert Trucking, as Mark Novotny will lead things off for the Cubs. So after this, Nick Streeter comes back up, Sean O'Reilly and Andy Nash. Top part of the lineup to come as Novotny goes down on strikes.
Mark Novotny is age 10. His favorite thing to do in Naperville is to play baseball, and when he grows up, he'd like to be a marine biologist. He's probably got a lot of fun with all the rain this spring.
Well, as long as he's got his gear on, scuba gear. I don't think being in the rain is ever fun in baseball.
Well, it has been a challenging season throughout the entire league. I can tell you, all the reschedulers and league workers who've been involved in trying to get all these games in. Even just this week, to keep this game on schedule and to be played today has been a challenge around the rain that we've had.
And the real problem today has been the wind blowing in towards us from right field. How do you think that affects these players here today?
Well, you can definitely expect that it's going to be hard to get a fly ball to loft into the outfield, so you probably don't want to have your outfielders very deep on a day like this. And you see a looper down the left field line there.
Fouled off by Nick Streeter. So Nick Streeter, the pitcher for this team, after giving up 3 runs, second in the order here in inning number 2, and facing a 2-2 pitch. Looper into left, past the outstretched glove of left fielder Henry Haddis. He rounds second, and he's in there safely as he lets one out to get to second base. So good speed and a heads-up play from Nick Streeter. Maybe a little bit of a risk there, but in the end it pays off.
That is a hallmark of this Platinum Partners Cubs team, is aggressive base running, out of the box and once they're on the base.
Pitch way inside. One and 0. Just over the plate. Next pitch to O'Reilly, fouled off. Now facing a 1-2 count. Bremner, third base, cutting in a little bit here.
If you're ever wondering what the count is when Sean O'Reilly is up to bat, maybe you might just want to ask him. He says his favorite subject is math. So he no doubt keeps track of the count all the time.
Well, he doesn't have to do that anymore here. Goes down on strikes. And so Heppel more confidently cruising through this inning despite giving up the double to Nick Streeter, as things perhaps have calmed down here for the moment. 2 outs, still a man on second. Now Heppel trying to get out of this inning. This time not giving up a run. Andy Nash at the plate. Lefty versus a righty.
This is a big hitter here for the Cubs and a big situation for Siebert Trucking. If Siebert Trucking can get out of this inning without Nick Streeter scoring from second, it sort of swings the momentum back to their side, even though they're down 5-3 in this game.
Right now, 2-0. Fouled off, and it's strike one. Infield still playing pretty aggressively in. And he swings through for strike two. Evens the count, 2-2, 2 outs, and a man on second. Outfield playing at normal range as Heppel gets the strikeout to end the inning. So Heppel, after a tough first inning in which he gave up 5 runs, comes into the second inning and gives up absolutely nothing aside from a stretched out double. No runs given up. Score remains 5-3 as we head into the bottom of the second.
A message from Martin Avenue Pharmacy.
You work hard. You play hard. And sometimes injuries happen.
Martin Avenue Pharmacy offers customized drug therapy for sports and injuries. Working together with you, your doctor or sports trainer, we compound deep-reaching pain formulations to be applied right where you hurt. High dose or low dose, combined pain formulations, fast or extended release dosage forms, or whatever your circumstances demand. Martin Avenue Pharmacy delivers.
Whether you need to get back to work or back in the game.
Call Martin Avenue Pharmacy at 630-355-6400. That's 630-355-6400. Or visit at 1247 Rickert Drive in Naperville. Martin Avenue Pharmacy. Customized drug therapy for your pain.
Beautiful day in Naperville for Naperville Little League Baseball as Henry Haddis will lead things off for Siebert Trucking here in the bottom of the second. 22-0 team facing a 2-run deficit right now. At one point it was 5. They scored 3 in the bottom of the first to bring it back to 5-3, and that's where we begin things now. Nick Streeter still on the mound for PPR. As he looks to counter Jake Heppel, who had a tough first inning, but boy, did he come back with some good stuff in the top of the second.
Yeah, Heppel struck out 3 batters there, sandwiching the double by Nick Streeter. That was really the sort of inning that Siebert needed after that big first to settle things down here.
Now the question is, can Streeter find a good inning of his own to counter? 2-1 right now to Henry Haddis. Ball high as Haddis had to lean down as it came toward him. Now it's 3-1.
Henry Haddis, a 9-year-old student from St. Peter and Paul here in Naperville. His favorite team is the Cubs. His favorite baseball team, his favorite non-baseball team is the Blackhawks. His favorite athlete is Jimmy Butler of the Bulls.
3-2, fouls it off. a showdown looming between Nick Streeter and the leadoff hitter Henry Haddis. Haddis had that tough play in left field in the previous inning. Fly ball, he might have lost it in the sun. It went over his head. Now looking to get a little redemption. Drops one in the shallow right towards the edge of the grass, but the catch is made by O'Reilly for the first out of the inning.
Outstanding reach and catch by Sean O'Reilly on that play. I remember that sort of defense from Sean O'Reilly last year, he being one of the 2-year players on this team and a very, very reliable, outstanding second baseman for the Cubs.
Well, he really had to reach out there for it, as that side of the infield was playing pretty far in. And now a ball to start things off for Charlie Thor. So Streeter off to a good start himself. The question going into this inning was, could he counter Jake Heppel? Well, after a batter. So far, so good, but still a lot to go. A ground ball here. Picked up at third, trying to gun him out, and a nice scoop for out number 2. Brandon Chitwood at third base, making the play across the diamond.
2 good defensive plays in a row there by Platinum Partners. You had the catch at second by Sean O'Reilly, and then the fielder at third, Chitwood, with the throw to first and the scoop on the play by Andy Nash. 2 good plays to have 2 outs here rather than 2 runners on.
Now you can see why this team has gotten this far. So a first inning of offense, a second inning of defense. Bunt laid down, but foul.
Seaver Trucking trying to get something going here, trying to catch the defense off guard a little bit, dropping down the 2-out bunt. Went foul, but not a bad idea in that situation.
Caden Hill in his first at bat, 0-2, 2 outs, nobody on. Nick Streeter looking to get out with a 1-2-3 inning, and he might get that. No, a foul ball. Came awfully close. He's been forcing some dribblers and some short fly balls this inning. A little more on his game. Both pitchers seem to have really settled in here. 0-2. Grounder to the shortstop, and that retires the side. As gunning him down was Luke Rue. 1-2-3 inning. And after 2, it's 5-3.
Martin Avenue Pharmacy makes medication in pet-friendly flavors and easy-to-apply pet gels, so the hand that feeds is the hand that heals. Call 630-355-6400. That's 630-355-6400. Martin Avenue Pharmacy.
All right, back here at Nike Park, third inning. Big changes between inning number 1 and inning number 2. Very offensive inning number 1, defensive inning number 2. And right away, a defensive play here to start inning number 3. As Nico Gordon grounding out for the Cubs. And went on with all those changes in this game. Perfect segue to leading into the changes that we've seen so far this year for this league in general. What are those changes? I know there's plenty of them.
Well, for 2016, Naperville Little League Baseball's made some changes to its program offering. We're going to reestablish majors, the traditional 11 and 12-year-old competitive drafted division, as our top tier offering for 2016. That comes after a 2-year experiment with the larger 50-70 game. In 2016, 50-70 will no longer be offered as a full season offering. It'll only be offered on Sundays as a select team offering against other towns, meaning that the primary teams that 11 and 12-year-olds play on will be the traditional majors.
Big swing by Luke Rue, but nothing comes of it, and now it's 1-2.
The most immediate impact of those changes will be that tryouts for our 2016 drafted leagues will be held in August. We'll hold tryouts for our majors and supreme drafted divisions in August, and those teams will form via draft at the end of August, allowing those teams to play together in the fall if they'd like in our fall ball program, or at least the core of those teams if they'd like, and then to practice together over the winter going into 2016.
Luke Rue ducks below this one.
Finally, we'll also be establishing a minimum scoring system during tryouts for majors, meaning there'll be a certain threshold that players have to meet in order to be draft eligible and selected into majors, the sum of which we think is really going to bolster our majors program.
Pitch way down in the dirt, goes right behind, and now Luke Rue facing a 3-2 count. Anything else we can get to?
In general, I would just say that I think that what we found was that with 3 offerings for the 11 and 12-year-olds, AAA, majors, and 50-70, it felt a bit diluted. And going down to 2 programs, I think will concentrate the talent a little bit more. And I think you'll see even more outstanding quality competitive baseball next year, not just in the Supreme Division, the division we're watching right now, but also in majors as well.
But we have a very competitive game going on right now, and I'm sure we have 2 more to get to here today. Day full of baseball, but right now the Supreme Division with Luke Rue on first base, and the Cubs trying to get something offensive put together again as that pitch down in the dirt, and Luke Rue takes second immediately. So now with 1 out, a runner in scoring position, and Matt Reedy up to bat. Reedy walked back in the first inning. All high, and Luke Rue says, you know what? I don't mind another free base. Takes third. And now even closer.
Matt Reedy, an 11-year-old student from Madison Junior High. Enjoys hanging out with his friends. When he grows up, he'd like to be an engineer.
Big aspirations. All down in the dirt. Going down toward the third base line was Luke Rue, but he thinks better of it, of course, and goes right back.
You know, we didn't have a chance to mention it at the end of last inning, but Luke Rue, the fielder on that play to end the bottom of the second on the grounder to short. Luke Rue, an outstanding arm, another pitcher on this Platinum Partners Cubs team, and wouldn't be surprised to see him on the mound at some point in this game today.
Well, Nick Streeter's been good so far. As the walk here to Matt Reedy. And so now 2 walks in the inning for Heppel.
Reedy immediately takes second, not stopping at first.
Wow. Now a little talk with Heppel. Making sure he's all right with 1 out. Runners at second and third. And the Cubs threatening.
Pitching change.
So into the game will be Luke Bremner. And he'll get a few warm-up pitches. We'll take a break ourselves. 5-3. With the Cubs threatening. Runners at second and third. Only 1 out. All right, Luke Bremner is all set to go. And he's in a tough spot as he comes into this ball game. By way of the walk, 2 runners came on. And now it's second and third. Chitwood grounds 1 out over to the third baseman and fresh into the game. A beautiful play from Jake Heppel at third base, but they call him safe. Had to make a really strong throw there. Did they call him out?
Chitwood out on the play at first. The throw came in.
Okay.
A little late at the plate. Luke Rue scored on the play. Chitwood out at first.
So Bremner immediately makes an impact at third base. He's a pitcher for a reason. You saw him show off the arm there. It's a tough pick off the ground, too. So comes Joey Cherney. Diving over for this one is Bremner, and he goes on to first to get the out and retire the side. But at least 1 run scores for the Cubs. And now it's a 3-run lead going into the bottom of the third.
A message from Martin Avenue Pharmacy.
All rise. Pet Court is now in session.
Yana Defense calls Mittens the cat to the stand.
Raise your right paw.
Wow.
State your name.
Mittens the cat.
Tell us your medication experience.
Oh, my owners, sitting right over there.
Order! Order in this court!
They chase me all over, then they hold me down, pry open my mouth, and force feed me those awful pills.
I rule in favor of Mittens the cat.
At Martin Avenue Pharmacy, we work with veterinarians and pet lovers to make medications in pet-friendly flavors or easy-to-apply pet gels, so the hand that feeds is the hand that heals. Call Martin Avenue Pharmacy at 630-355-6400, 630-355-6400, or online at martinavenue.com. Medication problem solvers for pets and people.
Top of the order up as we begin the bottom of the third. Siebert Trucking now down by 3 as Ryan Petusik comes up for his second at bat. He walked back in the first inning and already takes a pitch here for a ball to start his second at bat. Pulls off on a strike though, and that evens up the count. As Nick Streeter still on the mound for this PPR team. At some point though, you expect to see Luke Rue.
I would think so. I do recall a game last year where Nick Streeter threw a complete game shutout, 3-0 shutout at Knockpart against Siebert Trucking. A little bit different ball game here today. He does have some history in going all the way against this team, but you know, I would think we could see Luke Rue at some point today.
Called a strike to Petusik and a full count. Petusik hoping to draw his second walk of the game. He does just that. And again, like he did in the first, as the leadoff hitter, a walk to start things off for Siebert, down by 3. Hoping to put something together now. So immediately after comes the new pitcher, Luke Bremner. Bremner, when he came in, inherited 2 runners, but was also the beneficiary of some good infield defense, including from the pitcher he replaced in Jake Heppel. Now Nick Streeter getting a mound visit too.
Yeah, a visit here from Dan Keneally, longtime majors manager in Naperville Little League, and coach here on the Platinum Partners Cubs team. I would imagine here he's talking not just about the situation, but also talking about where we're at in the ball game. 6-3 Platinum Partners lead. Probably just trying to settle Nick Streeter down a little bit and induce a ground ball for a forced play at first or second in this situation and not let this inning get away from him.
Well, with Luke Bremner up, got Petusik on first. And fouled off. So Petusik through 2 at-bats, 2 walks.
Luke Bremner at the plate, a 10-year-old student at St. Peter and Paul. His favorite baseball team's the Cubs. His favorite non-baseball team, the Bulls. His favorite athlete, also a basketball player, the recently drafted and Lyle product, Frank Kaminsky.
Drafted by the Charlotte Hornets, 9th overall. So big news for Bennett Academy, big news for Naperville, and he's already made an impact on so many of the kids out here today as he fouls this one off.
Maybe that's why Luke Bremner says when he grows up he would like to be a professional basketball player.
Well, when you see Frank Kaminsky in the national championship game, I'm sure easy to be influenced by something like that. On 2-2. So Siebert, 22-0 this season, have not lost a game. So grounder back to Streeter and on to first for the out. That advances the runner on to second. And now at the very least, with 1 out in the inning, Siebert has somebody in scoring position.
Good play by Streeter there too, taking the sure out at first, knowing the situation, getting 1 out. If you get 2 more outs like that, the runner eventually wouldn't score. So getting the sure one at first again rather than making the riskier play at second.
So here's Jake Heppel with Ryan Petusik in scoring position at second base. Heppel started this game as the pitcher, has moved on to third base, and is up for another at bat, hitting third in the order. This one smacked foul, just foul. Still making the effort was Joey Cerny. Oh, go ahead.
Heppel, another young athlete with professional aspirations. He'd like to be a pro football player when he grows up. His favorite non-baseball team is the Bears. His favorite athlete overall is Angels outfielder Mike Trout.
Poor kid's a Bears fan, huh? That's sad. So Heppel now, he came to third base. Immediately made that beautiful play to get Brandon Chitwood out at first. Now his team needs him to swing the bat, and he does that. Out to right field. Chitwood can't make the play. Patusek comes around to score. Going for third. And it's a triple. An RBI triple for Jake Heppel.
That was by far the farthest hit ball we've seen here today. On a day with the wind blowing in, Heppel did get some loft on that ball to right and motored around to third. Hasn't been a whole lot of that one today, but Heppel got that one up in the air.
And a big time hit as it brings his team back to within 2, and with 1 out, a chance to cut it down to 1. Again, a 22-0 team. They always seem to find a way. In the previous game, almost eliminated, but they won on a walk-off at the very end. To stay alive and put themselves into the championship game as another visit to Nick Streeter at the mound. And we're going to see a pitching change here. So as you predicted, Luke Rue comes into the game, and can't question you. You seem to know a lot about this league. It's almost as if you are a manager in Little League Baseball.
Well, full disclosure, my oldest son played on the Platinum Partners Cubs last season. Was one of the 10-year-olds on that team with this core group. This year's 10-year-olds were 9-year-olds last year. And players like Nick Streeter and Luke Rue, they were the foundation of the pitching staff last year, and they really are again this year. I'm sure that Coach Dan Keneally and manager Bill Nash, Coach Jeff Gordon, they look at players like Nick and Luke as being the twin aces on the staff. And you know, win or lose, you want to have your best on the mound in a game like this, and that's what they're doing.
Well, he'll come into a key spot with Jake Heppel at third. And he's got a 2-run lead to work with. He's going to want to hold it there. See if he can do just that when we come back. 6-4 in favor of PPR. All right, we're back, and Luke Rue is in. Jake Heppel at third after an RBI triple makes it 6-4. Sievert down by 2. And the man who had a RBI double back in the first inning, John Weidenbach, is in now to try to cut this deficit down to 1. Sievert trucking a 22-0 team, looking for a big inning here with Luke Rue in a key situation. Very good pitcher for this Cubs team. In a pressure spot. High and inside, and it's 1-1.
We mentioned earlier that John Weidenbach, the son of manager Joe Weidenbach, the fourth of his family to have played for a Siebert trucking team. His favorite athlete's Miguel Cabrera of the Detroit Tigers. His favorite baseball team is the Detroit Tigers. His favorite non-baseball team, the Detroit Lions.
An all-Detroit kid. High fly ball into shallow right. That's going to score a run after it falls. Jake Heppel comes in. It's 6-5. Siebert now down by just 1 on that looper into right field. And a tough play to be made out there. Fell just between the right fielder and the shortstop.
Yeah, we've talked about how that wind is going to prevent a lot of balls from getting up in the air and traveling today. We should also talk about the challenge that it poses for outfielders getting a read on the ball. I think we've seen a couple balls today that were probably pushed back in toward the infield and made them a little bit more difficult to catch, including that one.
So 6-5, 1 out. And now Luke Rue can settle in a little bit here because now nobody in scoring position but runner on first. Sam Driscoll. Now Weidenbach has 2 RBIs on the day. This one comes right back to him. And almost turning the double play after that force out by Luke Rue. The runner at first is safe. So Driscoll is on by fielder's choice.
You don't see a lot of double plays in youth baseball, but they nearly turned one there.
Almost. And we mentioned time and time again, this defense in this Cubs team, and really both teams, has been especially good considering the strong winds we've seen so far here today. Right now, though, wind not blowing too hard.
Well, it's an old adage in baseball. Championships are won with pitching and defense. You don't get to be 22-0. You don't get to a championship game on either side of the field without pitching and good defense. And even though the ball game started off with a little bit more offense, I think they have settled down the last couple innings and shown that.
Ronnie Mayer, who had a single back in the first, hits this one to the first baseman, and that retires the side. Siebert scores a couple of runs, and we have got a close ball game in the Supreme Division Championship game. 6-5, the Cubs lead.
Oh my gosh, did you see Oprah the other day? About bioidentical hormones? Oh, I so want to look into that. I already did.
Martin Avenue Pharmacy works with physicians who prescribe the customized hormone therapies Oprah was talking about.
Jean, can I call you back? I need to call Martin Avenue Pharmacy. What's the number?
Call 630-355-6400. That's 630-355-6400. Hormone questions? Call Martin Avenue Pharmacy and pharmacist Tom Marks at 630-355-6400.
All right, Bremner on for his first full inning of work, and immediately a dribbler to the shortstop as Ronnie Mayer makes the play at first and gets Max Streeter on the first pitch for out number 1. So Streeter 0 for 2 now, and that brings up Luke Noren. Noren struck out in his first at bat. Going to find a little bit more here, and I want to mention, once you get to this time of year, it's hard to have your full roster together. Both teams missing some key faces today, aren't they?
Yeah, the Platinum Partners Cubs are without one player. Eric Sonnenschein, a 2-year player on the team, was on the team last year and was one of the returning 10-year-olds this year. Not here. By this point in the season, family vacations and other obligations sometimes can't be avoided. You know, of course, you never know if you're going to make the championship game or not, so it's tough to keep the last weekend of June open in all cases. And then for Siebert Trucking, 2 players who aren't here today. Unfortunately, Carter Billick, a 9-year-old student from Highlands Elementary, and Clayton Ray, a 9-year-old from Prairie, not here today. So Siebert Trucking playing with 10 players here in the championship game today, and Platinum Partners Cubs playing with 11.
So both teams dealing with the absence of some very talented young players. As that fly ball, unable to field it is Ronnie Mayer, and in safely with the hit is Luke Noren. So Mark Novotny will come up with a runner on first as Luke Noren is able to advance to first on the loop single to right.
And in all cases, you know, if there were any way that all players could be here, they certainly would be, because by the time you get to this point, this is the last game of the season. Win or lose, the last time these boys will be on the field together as a team. Whether they win or lose this ball game today, they'll walk away with trophies and outstanding memories of their season and playing in this championship environment here at Nike.
Beautiful field, beautiful day for baseball. The weather has been absolutely perfect, again, aside from the wind, which has been knocking our papers here and our notes around in front of us. But for the most part, if you're out there on the field, as you're fielding a fly ball from the wind, a beautiful day to be out here. The runner on first, Mark Novotny up. The Cubs trying to restore what was once a 5-run lead, but Siebert slowly but surely plugging away, chipping away at the lead. And now 6-5 in the 4th inning.
Yeah, 6-5 in the 4th. Of course, they play 6 innings in the Supreme Division, as they do in majors. And I'm really impressed by on both sides of the field. You really can't tell by the way the players are carrying themselves that they're in a 1-run championship ballgame. A lot of composure, a lot of collectiveness on both sides of the field here, really belying the stakes that are on the line.
Well, we are getting further and further into this championship game of the Supreme Division. 2 teams that barely lost all season, and now something's got to give. 4th inning. 2-1 count to Novotny, who struck out in his first at bat. And now on the wild pitch, easy advancement for Luke Noren, who again reached first base on that weak pop fly to the shallow right field side.
You know, I mentioned this will be the final game of the season for these two teams as such, but that doesn't mean it's the end of baseball. Naperville Little League offers its summer tournament throughout the month of July, starting after the 4th of July holiday weekend. An in-house tournament that players not participating in 10U, 11U, and 12U All-Stars can participate in. Anybody from ages 7 to 12. If you're not in the 10 or 11 All-Stars, you can play in our in-house summer tournament. In addition to those players who will go on and play in All-Stars and districts. So for many of these kids, baseball's not ending. There's still a month of it to go through the month of July before we get to back to school time.
Well, speaking of opportunities to play, a new pitcher in the game. Adam Zielke will come on for Siebert with the runner on second is what he'll inherit. 2 outs though, he's only got to get 1 to get out of this inning and keep the deficit at 1. So as he warms up, we'll take a break too. Zielke will come in for Siebert Trucking, 6-5 score. The Cubs lead in the 4th inning. Leadoff hitter up, Nick Streeter. But he comes up with 2 outs in the inning and takes a strike off the new pitcher, Adam Zielke. 3rd pitcher of the game for Siebert Trucking. And with a runner in scoring position and 2 outs, he just hopes to get out of this inning without giving up another one as we get into a crucial time of the game. And on the pass ball, advanced runner is Luke Noren. He heads on to 3rd. Then a 6-5 ball game. Facing Nick Streeter, who is 2 for 2 today. Takes this one high for a ball.
Zielke, a 10-year-old student from Prairie Elementary. His favorite baseball team, the Cubs. Favorite non-baseball team, the Blackhawks. His favorite athlete, Steph Curry of the champion Golden State Warriors.
Swings through this one beautifully. And it gets through for a base hit. And the Cubs, with a much-needed insurance run, at least restore the lead to 2 runs. So with 2 outs, they are able to score. Luke Noren from second, and it's 7-5 in favor of the Cubs. And so Sean O'Reilly comes up with a runner at first, helping to keep the rally moving along. O'Reilly with a walk and a strikeout. Here he takes a strike, and now it's 1-1.
That ball to left by Streeter, just past the outstretched glove of Ryan Petusek. A heck of an effort by Petusek at short on that play.
2 teams giving it their all in this championship game of the Supreme Division. And a special thank you to Martin Avenue Pharmacy, big sponsor of the league. O'Reilly hacks through this one. Another foul. Streeter on first base. And that is Nick Streeter, to be exact. There are 2 Streeters. Brothers on the team. From the top of the order is Nick Streeter. Max Streeter later in the lineup. Two and two now to Sean O'Reilly. Infield in. Grandrandish, the second baseman, he flips on to first. And so Siebert gets out of it, only allowing 1 run. So 7-5, Cubs get an insurance run, and Siebert up to bat next.
A message from Martin Avenue Pharmacy.
You work hard. You play hard. And sometimes injuries happen.
Martin Avenue Pharmacy works with you and your doctor to compound deep-reaching pain formulations for sports and injuries. Call Martin Avenue Pharmacy at 630-355-6400 to get back to work or back in the game. Call 630-355-6400 today.
Adam Zielke to lead things off for Siebert Trucking in the bottom of the fourth. Ball one. Zielke 0 for 1 today. And the Supreme Division in its championship game. Over the last 2 years, this division has really made its mark on Naperville Little League Baseball, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was a creation last year for the 2014 season to give the higher level 9 and 10-year-olds a competitive drafted environment to play in before they're up into the traditional majors program. By all accounts, a fantastic success. And really given these 9 and 10-year-olds a competitive baseball experience and learn the game in a competitive environment before they come up to majors. Another reason why we think that majors is going to be even stronger going forward.
Well, the two best teams from the division going head-to-head here. Another ball, nice take from Zielke. 2-2 count to the leadoff hitter here in the bottom of the fourth. Chitwood playing back at third base for PPR, who's there from where he was previously in right field the last inning. 7-5, Cubs lead. Siebert facing a 2-run deficit, but off to a good start here in their half of the inning, with the walk forced by the current pitcher for the team, Adam Zielke. And so Henry Haddis will come up. Haddis in his first at bat grounded out to second. Takes the first ball for a strike. And a nice clean delivery from Luke Rue. You mentioned the talent of this kid, how you can't pass up putting him in a game this important. Luke Rue really showing off the arm right now.
Yeah, Luke with a big athletic build. When he's not on the mound, he's playing shortstop. I can really see how much he's grown over the last year. You see him out there on the mound. He's got that size that you want out of a big number 1, number 2 pitcher, and he's throwing like one today.
Got to have someone like him in a game like this. There's the failed bunt attempt, and now it's 1-2. So quick sweep of home plate, and Luke Rue will head back to work. Siebert on the mound has gone through 3 different pitchers so far. Started with Jake Heppel, who gave up 5 in the first inning. Luke Bremner came in and relief of him, and then Adam Zielke on now for Siebert. This is only the second pitcher, though, for the Cubs, who started with Nick Streeter, as this one just fouled. There's a foul ball. A little confusion amongst the crowd. Ultimately called back.
A little bit different situation by the time you get to a championship point in the season. Obviously, this being the last game of the year, you're not worried about pitch counts in terms of days of rest of when you bring a guy back.
Easy fly ball and an easy out. And it's the first out.
Ordinarily throughout the season, you make your pitching changes with pitch counts and days of rest in mind. But today, knowing that everybody's got a max of 85, it's strictly situation-based, who you have in the game win, who you're going to bring in, and who you're going to save for later in the ballgame. So a little bit different than what they've encountered up until this point.
Well, we mentioned one of those pitchers, Nick Streeter. He's now on first, and he's the one who made that catch for the first out of the inning, as it was not Nick Streeter.
Andy Nash at first.
Andy Nash. Streeter moved to shortstop. As Luke Rue continues with 1 out, and he'll face Charlie Thor. Strike 1. Thorne in his previous at-bat grounded out to third. On run first. Siebert Trucking down by 2. Two-handed swing, but he misses the ball. And now it's 0-2. With one out, Luke Rue. Chopper back to Rue, goes on to second, looking to turn the double play, and they do. We talked about the rarity of a double play in Little League Baseball, but when you get to the championship game, you expect to see these things, especially from a team like this. 7-5 as the Cubs lead by 2 runs going into the 5th inning on NCTV 17. Starting the 5th inning, and Adam Zielke on the mound for Siebert Trucking.
Back to that last play to end the last half inning. Luke Rue turning and wheeling to short. Nick Streeter, perfect timing to get the force at second and turn the double play. As we said, you don't see many. But everybody really where they needed to be, when they needed to be there to make that play happen. That was the second play. The previous inning, Luke Rue had a similar comebacker, went to Nick at second, got the force at second. A little bit late for the force at first on the first one, but they turned it that time. And that's the kind of play you need to see in a ball game like this. Sometimes it'll make all the difference in a 2-run ball game.
And in a championship game, it's exactly what you need. So they come out of the inning still up by 2. And Siebert with only 6 outs left to try and make up the gap.
And Platinum Partners with their 3, 4, and 5 hitters up here in the 5th.
Andy Nash, Nico Gordon, Luke Rue. As the pass ball is also ball 4. So Nash is on to begin things.
If you're the Cubs in this situation, you're thinking insurance runs. Andy Nash grinding out that walk, getting on base. Nico Gordon coming up. They're thinking they might like to add 1 or 2 here if they can. Siebert Trucking.
Well, Nico Gordon hitting a whopping 600 this season.
Siebert Trucking not wanting that to happen.
Gordon hitting in the 4th spot, clearly a very important part of this team and all of its offensive success this year. Is that ball high, and Nico Gordon fakes the bunt once more. Pulls it back. That one clearly a bit too high to try and lay it down. 2-0, Nico Gordon up with Andy Nash on first. Pulls back on another bunt, but this time a strike. And it's 2-1. Zielke remaining confident, despite allowing the leadoff runner. And then 2 balls to follow. This one down in the dirt. Nash trying to get to second. And he's safe on the throw. It was a close call, but he did get there just in time.
Not a straight steal there. The ball scooted away from the catcher on the pitch. Nash breaking a little late. Still got in there.
It's ball high and another walk, so would have taken second anyway. Now it's first and second, nobody out, and the Cubs once again threatening. So their bats have really come to play today. This all-important Supreme Division game between the first and second place teams in this division. And now another mound visit out to Zielke to see if possibly we'll see another change here.
Yeah, again, Joe Weidenbach has been in this situation before, having been the manager of a Siebert Trucking team for 11 seasons. But he knows it's the 5th inning here. 2 runners on, nobody out. Talking to his infielders, make sure they know where the play is, any base. Probably trying to get his pitcher to keep the ball down in the zone, induce a ground ball out. That's what you need in this situation to try and keep those runs from coming around and opening up a bigger lead for Platinum Partners.
5th inning, runners on first and second. And up to bat is Luke Rue, the current pitcher. So now they have to look back, the runners. Both thought about moving momentarily, but just keeping him on his toes. Pulls back another bunt. This one again in for a strike.
Platinum Partners employing the fake bunt a lot here on the pitch. Not really showing bunt, but maybe trying to get the pitcher a little rattled.
Swings through this one. Now 1-2. key spot. Do they get the insurance runs, or do they come away with nothing? This one, wave foul. And we'll do it again. Again, nobody out. Infield playing in from the corners. A hack sends one to center field, and it drops. Getting waved in is Nash. Now he's caught in a rundown, but he is able to head back to third safely. No run score, but the bases are loaded as Caden Hill had to run out to the very edge of the infield to try and make that catch from center field. He was unable to get there in time, made a good effort, but ultimately the bases are loaded.
Aggressive base running by Platinum Partners, thinking about trying to score Andy Nash on that play, and then good base running by Nash to get out of the rundown and get back to third.
Matt Reedy, a chance to really put a dent in this game. Strike one. Reedy has been very disciplined at the plate today. 2 walks to his credit.
A walk's a run in this situation.
And we've seen that happen a couple times. Saw a run scored on a hit by pitch back in the first, and also a walk. So the Cubs really getting a lot of their offense from just plainly being disciplined at the plate.
And that's a hallmark of a Dan Keneally team. They've been working out together since February, March. They know situations. They know how to grind out runs. They know patience at the plate. And as does Siebert Trucking. You don't get to be 22-0 without playing the game the same way.
Mm-hmm. Nico Gordon on second. Standing on third is Andy Nash. And standing at the plate is Matt Reedy. He takes another ball. And so, what can Reedy do in a situation where he can really add to this Cubs lead going into the bottom of the 5th? He'd really put Siebert in a spot where they'd have to score runs and quickly. 2-2 to Reedy outside for a ball. We mentioned that plate discipline and the possibility of scoring another run off a walk. He's got 2 walks today. With a 3-2 count, a chance to score yet another off a walk. We'll do exactly that. Nash comes in to score on the walk. And the Cubs have a 3-run lead, 8-5, and still nobody out. And up comes Chitwood.
You wonder at this point how many more pitchers Coach Joe Weidenbach has in reserve, if he's thinking about making a change at some point, or if he's going to
high fly ball to the catcher. Play is made. He'll head back over to home plate to make sure no one else advances. And there's the very important first out of the inning. Siebert needs to try and at least get out of this 8-5. You mentioned the Siebert pitching. You're going into your 3rd pitcher now in Zielke. And so the question does remain now. Who else do you have out there that can possibly head in a key situation like this? Is again the catcher called upon to make a play, but eventually falls down. And we'll see more pitches.
On a 12-boy roster, it's the rare team that can go 4, 5, 6 pitchers deep with pitchers that you know can come out and throw strikes in a pressure situation like this. So you wonder how many more pitchers each team has in reserve.
Pass ball. The play at home. He's safe. And so Nico Gordon makes it 9-5. Heads up base running. Saw the pass ball, immediately ran in. Play was somewhat close, but he was in there by a good amount. 9-5, 4-run lead. And the Cubs in a very good spot here, especially heading into the later stages of this game.
Well, again, still 2 at-bats to be had by Siebert, 22-0. They've been in this situation before.
Smacked straight to the shortstop, who makes the easy play. Ronnie Mayer looking back, both runners at second and third. That's the second out of the inning. And really, when you consider the fact that Cubs had the bases loaded, nobody out, if Zielke can get out of this, giving up just 2 runs, I think that's a win for Siebert Trucking at this point.
Absolutely, and then you use that as a rallying point to get your team up. You know, there's a lot of emotion in a game like this already, with 2 remaining at-bats in the game. Getting out of a situation like this could be just the momentum shift you need.
Max Streeter takes this ball low. Again, runners at second and third. Reedy as the runner at second. This ball in the dirt. Luke Rue, the runner at third, going for home. Doesn't find the speed. But Zielke drops the ball, and so Rue is in there safely to make it 10-5. A tough way to give up that 10th run. The Premium Platinum Realtors up by 5 now in the top of the 5th here on NCTV 17 and NCTV17.com. We have many people to thank. Again, Martin Avenue Pharmacy. We saw a sterling rendition of the national anthem earlier today. Two outs and a 3-1 pitch to come. Ball down in the dirt. And another walk. We'll see runners at the corners. And now Zielke, see the body language. Puts his hands down to his knees. As the runner takes second immediately off the walk. So a little indifference there from the defense.
Well, this is where we have to remember these are 9- and 10-year-old kids in a pressure situation.
Tough spot. Another pass ball, and the play at home. Now Reedy scores 2, and it's 11-5. Zielke has truly given it his all here for Siebert Trucking, and though it is 11-5, still 2 more chances to come up. They worked the magic in the last game. You never know what can happen here. Zielke trying to buckle down. Some pitches here. He's well on his way with that one.
You know, and even though Platinum Partners has 4 runs in this inning, you don't look around the field and see Siebert Trucking carrying themselves like they think they're out of this ballgame.
So the out at short, reaching out for it was Ronnie Mayer, and that finally retires the side. 11-5, PPR ahead, but Siebert, an offensive dynamo. No doubt they'll be looking to make a big rally, big comeback. It's a team perfectly capable of doing so, full of leaders and players that can play well in pressure situations. They'll have to do it now in crunch time. Down by 6.
Injuries happen.
Call Martin Avenue Pharmacy to help get back to work or back in the game. Call 630-355-6400. Martin Avenue Pharmacy for sports and injuries.
All right, we begin the bottom of the 5th inning. And Siebert Trucking down by 6 runs. With Caden Hill up to bat. And Luke Rue still on the mound for the Cubs. So Siebert now facing a 6-run deficit. 22-0 team, the championship game, trying to complete the perfect season, but they have to make a big comeback if they want to hold on and make it 23-0.
Well, 2 innings left here. You know, manager Joe Weidenbach and coaches Scott Heppel, Mike Bremner, and Kirk Patusek have.
Ooh, nice scoop. Luke Rue picks it up off the ground. A hard bouncing ball came straight back at him off the bat of Caden Hill, but he calmly takes it away, goes on to first, and gets the first out of the inning.
You know, the Siebert coaching staff and players alike have been in situations like this at some point during the season. They probably spend the time between innings talking about what they had to do to try and get something going here.
Well, we talked about this team's ability to stay calm in high-pressure situations. Now you're at the top of the order. Ryan Petusik up. He's had a good eye all day. 2 walks for him, too. Mentioned PPR's discipline at the plate. Siebert has plenty of disciplined players, too. Petusik certainly one of them. And he's up now, the 2-0 count.
Well, really what you need here is base runners. You can't get 6 runs back at once. You need to get a runner on and get another runner on and get something going where it starts to sort of feed off of itself. And it all starts with that first guy who's able to get on base.
Petusik trying to do just that. This one a strike, though, and that evens up the count at 2. 5 outs left. Siebert trucking, trying to make something happen. Luke Rue, can't say enough about what he's done on the mound. Awesome defensively. He's made both outs now in this inning. As this one a weaker grounder right back to him. Goes on to first for the 2nd out. And Luke Rue has been cruising through. An awesome job on the mound by him.
Yeah, I think you can sort of tell at this point that the Cubs know where they're at. They're playing out in front in this game. They're the ones that have the lead on their side. They're probably playing a little bit looser, and Luke seems to be throwing pretty free and easy at this point.
Luke Rue versus Luke Bremner. Hard hit ground ball up the middle. And he's in there safely. As ranging over to try and make the play was Matt Reedy. But it passes him by. Solid effort, but Siebert has its first runner on base here in the bottom of the 5th.
And that could be just the start to get something going here.
And now you have Jake Heppel up. Heppel, who had the furthest hit ball by at least to the naked eye in this game. An RBI triple. Made the game 6-4 back in the 3rd. Since then, the score has certainly widened. They need him here. Heppel's the one who started this game as the pitcher. Eventually got moved over to 3rd. Swings right through this one for strike 1. Luke Rue has been confident on the mound. He's been calm. He's got run support. But against the Siebert team, you got to keep your focus all the way through.
Luke Rue taking a little something off that one there. Fouled off by Heppel.
Heppel, a very athletic player. High fly ball, and that'll end the inning. So Luke Rue faces 4 batters, gets 3 of them out, maintains the 6-run lead, and we go into the 6th with PPR leading by 6.
A message from Martin Avenue Pharmacy.
All rise. Pet Court is now in session.
Yana Defense calls Mittens the cat to the stand.
Raise your right paw.
Wow.
State your name.
Mittens the cat.
Tell us your medication experience.
Oh, my owners, sitting right over there.
Order!
Wow.
Order in this court!
They chase me all over, then they hold me down, pry open my mouth, and force-feed me those awful pills. Wow.
I rule in favor of Mittens the cat.
At Martin Avenue Pharmacy, we work with veterinarians and pet lovers to make medications in pet-friendly flavors or easy-to-apply pet gels, so the hand that feeds is the hand that heals. Call Martin Avenue Pharmacy at 630-355-6400, 630-355-6400, or online at martinavenue.com. Medication problem solvers for pets and people.
Adam Zielke, tough competitor, still on the mound, working for this team, working for Siebert Trucking. Really tough pitcher, facing Mark Novotny. Novotny, the very bottom of the order for the Platinum Partners Realtors Cubs. Following him will be Nick Streeter and then Sean O'Reilly.
Platinum Partners not taking their foot off the pedal here, trying to ground out another walk and maybe add to that lead.
Well, against the Seaver team, you can never have too many insurance runs, that's for sure. As the leadoff walk for Mark Novotny. Novotny going into that at bat was 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a single. Now you can add a walk to his resume for the day. As the first pitch to Nick Streeter, the top of the lineup, is a ball. One 0 to Streeter. That one hits him in the upper thigh, and it's first and second now with nobody out. So as you mentioned, the Cubs not taking their foot off the gas pedal, trying to earn every bit they can to ensure they come away with a victory, but Seaver trucking. One more inning. Zielke comes out of the game. And we'll see a new pitcher. Sam Driscoll. He's going to get some warm-up pitches here. And with nobody out, runners in first and second. Driscoll comes in, down by 6. And they'll need him to try and buckle down and keep it right there. We'll take a break. When we come back, Driscoll with his first pitches. It'll come to Sean O'Reilly, Andy Nash, and Nico Gordon right after this. Sean O'Reilly up to face the new pitcher. And he immediately comes in with a strike.
Manager Joe Weidenbach going to his 4th pitcher here in the 6th inning.
Sam Driscoll took a little off this one. He comes right back to him. He goes on to first, or out number 1, but that advances both runners. And now it's second and third with 1 out for Andy Nash. Andy Nash walking in his last appearance. Facing a left-handed pitcher for the first time today.
You know, no matter the outcome of this game here today, you know, both teams can say that they played in a championship game, and the kids who have been on the mound got to pitch in a championship game, which is quite a thrill when you think about it.
Especially at this level. You know, when you're this age, everything is that much more magical. And you get to a championship game and you're playing in front of the cameras, it's got to be exciting. So far, Driscoll, the lefty-lefty matchup, falling behind in the count, 3-0. Now the threat to load the bases is there. So Hillhead on the first, bases loaded, 1 out. And not the guy you want to run into at this point, Nico Gordon, who again hitting .600 this season, is exactly the guy you want if you're the Cubs in a bases loaded situation with 1 out.
And if you're Seaver, you're hoping for a ground ball in the infield in, come home with the ball. Try and prevent another run from scoring.
Every infielder in right now. This ball way outside. Evens up the count at 1. And an easy layoff for Nico Gordon. Gordon this year, 60 at-bats, has scored 32 runs, 36 hits. 31 of his 36 hits were singles. So truly a contact hitter. As he reaches down for this one, for strike 2. Wanted to thank the singers of our national anthem today. Scullin Honors Chorus did a fine job earlier today as Gordon bends out of the way. And now it's 3-2. Takes this one. but he's out looking.
Big strike out there for Sam Driscoll, 10-year-old from St. Peter and Paul. His favorite baseball team, the Cubs. Favorite non-baseball team, the Bears. His favorite athlete, Anthony Rizzo. His favorite thing to do in Naperville when not playing baseball is to hang out at the pool.
Luke Rue bends out of the way of this one too, but this one called a strike. 2 outs, the Cubs up by 6. Siebert with its 4th pitcher on the mound today. As Luke Rue watches as this one goes by for another strike, it's 0-2.
Driscoll really making the pitches he needs to make here.
And he makes another one. Strike 3, and he gets out of the inning. A huge inning for Siebert from Sam Driscoll. Came in off the bench to pitch, and he did his job. Siebert Trucking, 22-0, down by 6, with its final 3 outs coming up.
Injuries happen.
Call Martin Avenue Pharmacy to help get back to work or back in the game. Call 630-355-6400. Martin Avenue Pharmacy for sports and injuries.
Siebert Trucking, 22-0 this year, but down by 6 in the bottom of the 6th. With Luke Rue still on the mound, and the 4, 5, 6 hitters up to bat. Adam Zielke, Henry Haddis, and Charlie Thorne. Biggest inning of the season for both teams. 1-0 to start this at bat. Adam Zielke, who is the 3rd pitcher presented. Excuse me, John Weidenbach. Fouling this one off. 2-1. Luke Rue doesn't seem affected by the major spot he's in here. And fouled off, it's 2-2.
Well, on both sides of the field, you know now that your entire season comes down to this inning. For the Cubs in the field, it's make the plays, preserve the lead. And for Siebert Trucking, it's get some runners on, get some runs, and extend this ball game.
Weak grounder down the 3rd base line called foul. So Weidenbach will head back. He'll be followed by the current pitcher Sam Driscoll and then Ronnie Mayer.
This really is a good time to remind everybody about all the hard work that both these teams, both coaching staffs have put in, dating back to the offseason, February, March, before you're even able to get outside. In many cases, you know, multiple years for the returning players on these teams who have played for managers or coaches for multiple years. In some cases, this is what you may have been looking forward to all along.
Hard hit ball, and it gets through the 3rd baseman and the shortstop. There's Nick Streeter, can't track it down, and a single for John Weidenbach. Leadoff man aboard. And Siebert is going to need a lot more of those. Sam Driscoll up. Again, Driscoll with that magnificent inning. Coming in relief as a pitcher. Now he's on as the 2nd batter in the order here in this inning.
Driscoll, a left-handed hitter like his favorite athlete, Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs.
Makes a strike there. When you have an undefeated season, arguably the hardest one to win is the very last one. Siebert in a tough spot here. Ground ball right back to Rue. He goes on to 2nd. And though nobody touched 2nd, they do still call him out. Or they call him safe. And so we have 1st and 2nd. with nobody out. Now the umpire going to get a few words here.
In Major League Baseball, that's what's known as the neighborhood play. A lot of times you'll see the fielder go ahead and get that call in the understanding that the fielder is simply trying to avoid contact with the fielder. I mean, with the runner. They go ahead and call him out here.
So the call is reversed. For not.
Call stands.
Call stands.
Runners out. Well, for now, they're still talking about it. Tough situation for the players and the umpire. Talking it over. The initial call was that the runner was out, and it appeared to be reinforced, but they're still talking it over here.
Nonetheless, there will at least be a runner on first. And they will call him safe.
It did appear that the fielder's foot came off the bag before the out had been completed, so probably the right call there.
Not just a good call, but a big one for Siebert Trucking, who now have runners at first and second, nobody out, and down by 6. That's exactly what you needed. As up comes Ronnie Mayer. Looking for the big swing. 0-1.
Again, that had been the third comebacker to Luke Rue on the mound, going to second with a runner on first, Nick Streeter on the bag. They've made that play today for a double play previously.
As Mayer scurries out of the way of this inside pitch, it's 1-1. Mayer will be followed by Adam Zielke, Henry Haddis, and Charlie Thorne.
Ronnie Mayer, a 10-year-old student at All Saints. His favorite baseball team, the Cubs. Favorite non-baseball team, the Blackhawks. His favorite athletes from the Cubs and the Blackhawks, Chris Bryant and Jonathan Taves.
Now we'll have a meeting at the mound. Have a talk with Luke Rue. Siebert Trucking has gotten the start it wanted here in the bottom of the 6th. And knowing this team, I mean, can't be too surprised the way they've come out here. And that puts Luke Rue in a tough situation. He's got a team with its back against the wall, and they have to find a way to score these runs. You know the pressure's going to be ramped up on Luke Rue here.
Absolutely, and Siebert has what they need in this situation. They have a couple runners on. They got a break on that play at second. Any rally starts with humble beginnings. These may be those.
The 1-2 to Ronnie Mayer. He dives out of the way. Ball 2. 2-2. 2 on. Nobody out. Ronnie Mayer, who's been excellent defensively today. Weakly hit ground ball. Played by O'Reilly. Runners advance. 1 out. Those said runners on second and third now. Siebert Trucking still down by 6. Here comes Henry Haddis. Excuse me, Adam Zielke. Righty-righty matchup. Swung on, gets past O'Reilly on the first baseman. The run scores. They hold up to second. Sam Driscoll goes back to third. Siebert Trucking gets one of the 6 runs it needs, and it's 11-6.
And Siebert showing there's no quit in this team, coming into this inning, needing to get back into it.
Now runners at the corners too.
Yeah.
That one gets by, and another run scores. It's 11-7. So Siebert Trucking starting to chip away here.
Siebert Trucking stealing a page out of the Platinum Partners playbook with a little aggressive base running on the double steal. They are playing from behind here, so not only do they want that run in, but they want more base runners behind them.
Hattis pulls back on the bunt, but it's a ball. Zielke goes back to second. 1 out. Siebert Trucking still needs a lot more. They rely on Henry Hattis, Charlie Thorne, Caden Hill. Bottom of the order needs to come up big here. High fly ball. It will fall at the edge of the grass. And Zielke takes third. On to second goes Henry Hattis. And now Siebert Trucking has runners on second and third with 1 out. We saw the effort from Nick Streeter at the shortstop position to try and play that ball, but again, just hit to a really tough spot. And so a big time play for Siebert Trucking, and the bottom of the order really starting to come through here as Charlie Thorne will head up to the plate.
A lot of those hits that have dropped today on both sides have been in that area between the infielders and the outfielders, dropping in right where the team at bat needed them to, and that was exactly what Siebert needed in that situation. For the Cubs here, they need to sort of slow the pace a little bit, and remember, they're playing from ahead. They still have a 4-run lead. Siebert, they want to keep the momentum going. Runners on second and third.
First pitch, strike.
And what would be the tying run on deck?
Charlie Thorne. The righty-lefty matchup now. That hack moves the ball foul. So Luke Rue with a good start, 0-2 on Charlie Thorne. With one swing of the bat, Thorne can bring Siebert Trucking to within 2. Good take there. Ball down in the dirt, 1-2. And he got him. I'd say he just did make contact, and so he just does stay alive here at 1-2.
Thorne, the hitter on that 1-6-3 double play that Platinum Partners turned back in the 4th.
Right back to Rue. Gets the out at first. They try to get him at home, and they do. A double play to end it. And the Platinum Partners Realtors Cubs are Supreme Division champions.
Well, an outstanding play by the Platinum Partners Cubs to end the ball game, and a tough play for Siebert Trucking to lose the game on. An outstanding season for both teams. Siebert Trucking finishing 22-1, that being their first loss of the season.
And the Cubs finishing 22-1. To a standing ovation. They come off the field as champions. Both these teams, playoff teams last year. Both of them new to the championship game. And so by default, a new champion this year. Cubs finishing the season with 20 wins. And what a way to end it on a brilliant defensive play.
And for Coach Manager Bill Nash, Coach Dan Keneally, Coach Jeff Gordon, the culmination of a 2-year effort with this core group. Again, Supreme coming into being last year, the first year. In a large sense, this team was really built for this year when the core, the Luke Rues and Nick Streeters and Nico Gordons and Matt Reedies, when they would be 10 years old, this being the end of their run in Supreme. An outstanding group on the Platinum Partners side. And for Joe Weidenbach's team, an outstanding run as well, going 22-0 up until this point, finishing 22-1. Hats off to two outstanding groups, two outstanding managers and coaching staffs.
And we welcome you to our booth here. The amazing part of this game, you look back at the season, Siebert Trucking beat PPR twice this year. We mentioned again, once by a final score of 11-6, the other 11-1. PPR comes out here today. They don't let that get to them whatsoever. In fact, it seemed they used it as motivation, if anything.
Well, cliches are plentiful in sports, and I think you saw one here today. It's tough to beat a team 3 times in one season. Platinum Partners had that motivation, maybe that little chip on their shoulder. It said, hey, we're going to come out here and get them in the one that matters most, and they did. But again, Siebert Trucking manager Joe Weidenbach and team have absolutely nothing to hang their heads about. Not many teams can say that they finished a regular season undefeated. and both teams are walking away from here with trophies today.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I had to pick a key to this game, it seemed, you know, I look back on the plate discipline of PBR, all their batters from the top to the bottom forced so many walks, they got hit by pitches, they took one for the team time and time again, and eventually it seemed to be what led up to the ultimate victory. Do you think that was the key to their win today?
Well, I think it was really the formula that the Platinum Partners team has played with all along. You know, they came out right from the beginning with aggressive base running. They knew that they didn't want to get behind. They wanted to play from ahead in this ball game. They got the early lead. They burned through some pitches. They made manager Joe Weidenbach go 2, 3, 4 deep in his pitching, maybe a little bit earlier than what he wanted to. And the Cubs grinded it out. Nick Streeter, Luke Rue, those are their 1-2 on the mound, and then that was who they went to today, and they answered the bell.
Well, a great game from both sides. Again, your final score, 11-7. Siebert Trucking dropping one to the eventual champion, the Cubs, the Platinum Partners Realtors Cubs. Again, 11-7 final score. Well, Rob, you did a fine job today. Thank you for being on.
Thank you, Charlie.
A couple more games to do. Coming up, we'll have Nico Haflinger doing the second game with you, and then Justin Zipser in the third game. Again, we'd like to thank you for watching. I'd like to thank Scullin Honors Chorus, Hardin Avenue Pharmacy, for all they provided us here today. And thank you for watching. Again, final score 11-7. Platinum Partners Realtors are your Supreme Division champions.